What's going on, guys? JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to lesser known things about England from a foreigner living in England. Now this comes from the channel Adventures and Naps, and we recently reacted to this woman right here. She made a video titled 9 Weird Things British People Do. Found that video to be very good, so we're going to get into lesser known things about England. Hopefully I'm able to touch on some of the quirks and nuances of English society that many other people just simply don't see when they visit, especially American tourists, and maybe even learn something new. Before we get into this, guys, consider joining the Patreon. First link in description for full reactions to British TV shows and movies, along with some British albums as well. We recently started watching a show, Porridge, which features Ronnie Barker, and it is a brilliant show that I've taken to immediately and fallen in love with. It's set in prison, situational comedy, quite good. I have a rotation of shows every week, watching 5 full show reactions every week at least. So a lot of content out there, including a whole catalog filled with things that I've already done. So if you want a ton of content, it's a great time. I promise it's worth it. First link in description. No pressure. If not, guys, I appreciate you being here. Let's get right into the video.
Hi everyone, it's me. This week I wanted to share some observations I've had about England as a Canadian who's lived here for 2 years. Basically, I wanted to share some maybe like lesser known things. So if you are not British, these are things you probably didn't know about England. And if you are British, these are things that you might not realize other countries don't do. Either way, they're just my observations. Please, Lord, don't get offended. There is always somebody who gets offended. And again,
every YouTuber has to deal with that, the comment section. It's funny.
I am Canadian living in the southeast of England, so these observations are from there. I'm not saying all of the UK is the same. Can't speak for everybody else, but these are just some things that I've noticed. I think those are all the disclaimers. I hope. So without further ado, let's go. I guess in my mind, I sort of imagined I'm just gonna do this like rapid fire. We're not gonna talk about it too much because then I'll just keep talking and then I won't stop talking, and then this video will be like a million years long. Most things in England tend to use 24-hour time. So like bus timetables, train timetables. My calendar at work defaults to 24-hour time. But nobody says 24 hours. So the meeting might say 1600, but then your boss will say, remember that meeting at 4 o'clock? Don't forget. It's like this split between you see 24 hours and you hear 12 hours. I mean, even the clock in my kitchen, like on the oven, is 24 hours. And that doesn't come natural to me, so sometimes I look at it and I you know, it takes a minute. Math is not my strong suit. Also,
that is a good point though, now that I think about it, because no one is going to say it's 17 o'clock, like it's 5 o'clock. No one's going to say out loud that. And I wonder if that's just a British thing or if that's a thing in general, like in the army or military or whatever in the United States, they use 24-hour time. But I don't think they verbally say, oh, you have to meet us at 18, 19 o'clock. They don't say that. Nobody says that. I think it's more of just a accepted thing. But I had not thought about that at all. Interesting. I honestly, I like the 24-hour time. I do like it a lot.
Not my strong suit. Also, I say math, but in England it's maths. So maths is not my strong suit. The more you know. I've mentioned this before, there's no power outlets in the bathroom. This genuinely annoys me. I know everybody's always like, it's a safety hazard. Why would you want power in a bathroom? Well, when you've grown up with it your whole life and then you don't have it, it's like, I gotta charge my electric toothbrush in the kitchen, and that feels very strange to me. You know at McDonald's when you have that ketchup dispenser and you like push the pump thingy and you have a little cup of ketchup? In England, they have those for ketchup and some for barbecue sauce. That's different. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this is everywhere, but in this
barbecue sauce, I don't know if I've noticed that. Maybe I haven't been to enough McDonald's, but the electric outlet thing, we do have them in the United States. It's quite common to see that for like hair drying, tools. I like, honestly, you don't really need an electric outlet in the bathroom, bro. And the electric toothbrush thing, yes, that can be a bit. I've noticed that the kitchen in England is like a mix of a lot of things. You've got your laundry, your washer/dryer. Well, there's no dryers really. Well, okay, well, that's a whole nother thing. We're just gonna the clothing line outside. It's kind of a mix of a bunch of different things because it's just a smaller space that has to be more functional, which I appreciate. Like, it makes things simpler in some ways.
But in the Southeast,
it's easy to get everything done.
A lot of the big grocery stores, the cashier will sit and scan your items, but you're in charge of bagging them, which doesn't seem like a big deal. But I used to work at Walmart back in Canada for like 3 months in between my first and second year at college. So I just needed a summer job, worked at Walmart, which is Asda. And I was expected to stand for my entire shift, you know, the full 8-hour shift, whatever it was. And you scan and you bag. So when I came here and all the cashiers at Asda are sitting on these nice comfy seats and they don't have to bag the stuff, like, man, that's awesome. So
this video is quite old because times have changed. There's no baggers anymore. It's too much for the companies, so it's on the customers. Honestly, like, that's just not really a thing anymore. But it's not that big of a deal, is it? And also Walmart, like, should we compare anything to Walmart? Like, that place is so... If you go to Walmart in the United States, you're going to see, like, the underbelly of America. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty, guys. Trust me. You don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. You'll buy some chicken with who knows what is pumped into those chicken legs. If you do not buy meat from Walmart, guys, oh my. That's like the peak of the problem with, like, American livestock and meat and everything, like the way that we run that. You're gonna get the negative effects of that are all in Walmart.
I mean, I had to stand and bag and scan, so I'm not bitter or anything.
Yeah,
I am bitter.
Yeah.
Another thing I've noticed, most people in England drive standard cars, which is interesting. I don't know a single person in Canada that drives a standard car. Everybody drives automatic. It's just the way it is. Automatic is just so easy. I don't understand. But then I'm sure people are going to be like, you know, oh, that's not the real way to drive a car. You got to drive standard. And, you know, good luck with that. Raccoon.
I'm with you. It is easy to drive automatic, but standard is always infinitely better. You're so much more in touch with the vehicle and have so much more control over it. So the only reason that anyone ever says automatic is easy, it's better, is because they never learned how to drive manual. Like, if you learned how to drive manual, you're probably not going to drive automatic. Like, that's just how it is, bro. So I honestly think we should drive manual. Like, you should be able to shift gears and drive a vehicle. That should be, but instead, everything is, I mean, it's all software now anyways. Push to start, you click to put the car in drive. That's where we're heading.
Don't exist in the UK, but foxes do. I've never seen a fox before until I moved to England, and I see them, like, sadly, quite a lot. And
sadly.
I mean, I can't put the rubbish out the night before because the foxes will rip it open. It's basically the UK's raccoon. You can't put garbage out in Canada because the raccoons get in it with their little fingers and their thumbs, like, they get right in there. Same thing with the foxes. They rip that stuff open. And it is not pleasant to pick up in the morning, let me tell you.
That sucks.
This is just a side note about the foxes. I'm sure all the British people are well aware. When two foxes love each other very much and decide to share that love together as a couple, it sounds like a woman is being brutalized in the street, like blood-curdling screams. So the first time I heard foxes mating, I thought somebody was dying, and I ran to my boyfriend. I was like, oh my God, like, what is happening? Something's happening in the street. Like, can you not hear this woman is screaming? And he's like, nah, those are the foxes. So don't let that freak you out.
Damn.
Just, just saying. Almost everybody in, okay, I can't generalize. Everybody I've heard referencing the United States calls it America. Which is interesting because I've never called it America till I moved to England.
That's so true. That is so true. And listen, we do that we say it in the United States as well. We're like, America or something like that. But it's so, in England, you guys just call it America straight up for what it is. But I mean, if we're going to talk about, that's a whole problem within itself, because you have North America, South America, and you're calling one country in those two continents all of that. I mean, so it's kind of like, it doesn't really make sense in some ways, but I understand for simplicity why you guys do it. I'm not saying anyone's wrong, but that's just my view of it. It feels a bit weird sometimes. Yeah.
To England. So in Canada, I mean, we call it the States, we call it the US, we call it down south, but I've never heard really people call it America. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know why. I mean, it makes sense. That's what it's called. It's called the United States of America. So it makes sense to call it America, but we just don't. If you're living in England, chances are your mailbox is just like a slit on the door. In Canada, you'll either have a mailbox like on the exterior wall of your house by your front door, like a metal usually thing that you put the mail in, or you might have a mailbox at the end of your driveway if you're like more rural, and the post guy just like drives along and puts your mail in these.
Something I'm finding in this video is that the United States and Canada, we already knew this, but they are just almost identical in so many ways. Like, we could say, can say all we want. I will say Canadians are friendlier, so we're not identical in that sense. They're 100% friendlier than Americans, 1,000%, and probably just a bit better. But in terms of like the way we live our life, there's just too many similarities. They're glaring. Like, maybe we should group up into one country. How would the Canadians feel about that? Probably not too good. But maybe the Canadians can acquire the United States, and then we can be under rule of you guys. Who knows?
Boxes at the end of the driveway. But for some reason in England, they scrapped the mailbox idea. Who needs one? Let's just cut a hole in your door with a little flap and then just shove the mail through. However, sometimes this sounds like someone is breaking into your house.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So don't freak out. Maybe. Lesser known thing about England, people tend to sign like texts or messages to people with an X or maybe multiple X's, but definitely at least just one. At first I thought this was like a flirty thing, because it's like you're sending a kiss to somebody, like, excuse me? Pretty much everybody does it. I mean, we have a cleaning lady that comes sort of once a month, and she sends me X. You know, she'll be like, see you then, Alana, X. It's like, I've only met you like twice.
I love that, though, about the Brits. The X is just a nice, like, a great way to sign off a message, endearing way to do that. Nice and friendly. So, but I agree with what she's saying. I just met you 2 weeks ago, like, or whatever, twice. Because in the United States and Canada, we can misinterpret that and be like, wait, why? Like, why are you being so nice to me? We're not supposed to do that, basically.
X thing is quite like a polite thing to do, you know. I've had coworkers and almost like near strangers send them, so it's a thing. I've also learned that medicine packaging, like painkillers or like the boxes with like liquid cough syrup or whatever, all that packaging has Braille on it.
Braille?
I think that's pretty cool. I don't think Canada does that. Like, why don't we do that? When using an escalator, make sure to stand on the right-hand side and walk on the left-hand side. Failure to do so is punishable by death.
Let me tell you guys about the United States. So when using the tube or the metro system in United States cities, obviously you have to take an escalator to go up and go down. But this is why I love England, because the society is just, people are more, like, I'm not going to say obedient to their societal norms, but like they understand that other people, they're not the only person in the world, basically, is what I'm saying. Like in the United States, every single time, bro, and I'm not even the guy rushing. I'm not the guy rushing up the left side. I just stand to the right. But almost every time, there's someone just plopped in the middle of their escalator stair, and someone's trying to get by them. So it starts a whole queue of people waiting for them to move, and they stand there oblivious, usually until the end, until we've reached the top, and then start walking. So it's like, again, same thing with driving. People sit in the left lane and don't let people take them over, or pass them. Just completely oblivious. It's almost as if like they're not even checking their rearview mirror, or like they're not even looking behind them, which they aren't. So it's just that level of ignorance and lack of care, and lack of regulation and actually holding each other accountable. Because in the United States, if someone sees someone doing something stupid, and even it does burden them, they're just going to wait until it's not burdening them anymore and just blow the hell by them and just hope they never have to see them again. But then that situation has to happen 100 times, 500 times over again, because nobody told that person that you shouldn't do that. Because again, that's like, you don't even want to waste your time by talking to them, because there's just so many people like that. So, oh my God, it's so frustrating, guys. So when I come over to England, I just love to see the queuing and just the politeness and just general manners and etiquette and rules, unspoken rules that society follows, because most of the people in society are well-mannered individuals, which is a complete difference compared to the United States, where we have way too many people who have no manners, no sense of etiquette, and could care less about anyone around them. That is the worst type of person to live with in your country. It's the worst thing ever, guys. Oh, I just went into a little rant. Guess I've been feeling that way for a while now. Every time I go on the escalator, I have these thoughts in my head. I'm like, it's just a cycle. And then, oh my, too many damn people.
Punishable by death.
What?
Basically. And with that, left-hand side. When using an escalator, make sure to stand on the right-hand side and walk on the left-hand side. Failure to do so is punishable by death, basically. And with that, hopefully we've all learned something today, because every day's a school day. If you guys have any ideas of things that you'd like to see or for me to talk about.
All right, guys, that was a good video. Shout out to Adventures in Naps, I believe is her channel. This video is from like 7 years ago, though, as well. So obviously her quality has gone up quite a bit, and her knowledge compared to the more recent video we checked out, which I believe was 9 weird things about British people. But yeah, this was still a good video. It had some good points to make, some things I had not thought about yet. Some things I had thought about yet that came out, especially towards the end of the video with the escalator. So yeah, shout out to her. Link to original video will be in description, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.